Okay guys, so your goal for today is first of all to find some interesting statistics. I chose to look at the economic issue of overspending on the military in the US. So a cool site I found was just the Department of Defense. And I used this chart which showed already the billions of dollars being spent every year. Um, and I took that data and entered it into Excel. Okay, so I've got the year in my first column and the spending in billions in the second column. Maybe you won't have as much data as I do. I try to have as much as possible just to maybe have a more accurate prediction. So once you have whatever data it is you're tracking, and you want to have at least 5 years worth of data, then you're going to go ahead and make a chart for that data. Okay, so clicking anywhere off here, I'm going to click on this icon that says Insert Chart. And I'm going to click on the second tab here, Chart Types. You can leave this default if you put a header in. It says use row 1 as headers, the year and the military, because you see they're already showing up on my X and Y axis. Okay, and instead of a line, what I want is the scatter, just to see the points. Okay, so once I see that, it gives me the preview. I click Insert. Okay, so I have my scatters already. And you can see the program is already giving a little bit of a projection. 2020, you got this dot all the way up here. And this is what I want to expand on. I want a little bit more detail. So to get that trend, I'm going to click on this cell in the next empty one under US spending in billions. And I'm going to go up to the formula bar. I'm going to hit equals trend, which is a function in Excel or spreadsheets, trend, and then the open parentheses. Okay, I need to enter the range of data I want to include, which in this case is this one up to this one, and I did shift click to make it select all. And I also need it to align with, of course, the changing of years. So I'm going to put a comma. I'm going to select 2016 by clicking it. Then I'm going to shift click 2001. Then I just hit close parentheses. And that's what the formula needs to look like. When I hit enter, it should generate the same number of results as I've put in. Okay, and there it went. So here I have the next 15 years of spending. Okay, so I can go ahead and add labels to that. Oops, doesn't work like that. So I'm going to need to add them one by one. Okay, so I've gone ahead and entered those years one by one. And you see I didn't do anything to this chart and it's automatically updated itself. Okay, but you can see this trend line is just being purely linear. It's being a straight line, whereas before it wasn't quite behaving like a straight line. So maybe there's a more accurate way we can try to find a prediction. Okay, so if I looked at my graph and saw it wasn't behaving like a straight line, then I don't want to just use the trend function. I want a little more detail. So how do I do that? I click on my chart that I already created, and I need to click on this little arrow, which will allow me to go to Advanced Edit. In Advanced Edit, it should automatically take you to Customization. If not, click here. And we need to add a trend line. So you can scroll all the way down here. Okay, it says Trend Line None. So here you have the options. And since you guys have been working with quadratic, we need to choose the polynomial trend line. Okay, you see it adds a trend line that behaves like a polynomial function. Now you have some more options. Now this second degree is quadratic. Okay, you've got two polynomials, x squared plus x. Okay, then the last thing you need to do under label, where it says custom, go and click use equation. Okay, you can see over here on the side it's actually generating the equation that's used to project this trend line. Okay? If you saw that maybe it was behaving not just like a simple curve, you could try changing the degree of polynomial to see if there's a better fit, if you don't think it anticipates with what you know. This third degree, as you can see, it starts with a cubic, then there's a squared, then there's an x. That's what the degree of polynomial is. But here we still have an essentially parabola. Maybe by the time you get to a fifth degree, it would really be capturing this last little upward trend. Okay, but for now, let's stick with the quadratic, the simple 2-degree polynomial. And then I'm going to click Update. Okay, so I have my equation here, and I can use this equation then to make a prediction for any year. Okay, let's try for 2050 if this trend continues that we saw in our 15 years of data. So let's just put that down here, and we're simply going to use that formula on the chart, equals -3.903, and then instead of x we're going to put times the year 2050 squared plus 15696.16, and then instead of x I need to put times 2050, again x being the year we're predicting. It's what's along our x-axis down here, and then minus 1.578 E7. And then when I've hit enter, I've gotten this result of -5,000. So it looks like we're going to be gaining $5 trillion if it were to follow this trend. So that's a good sign that the quadratic equation was not our best fit. So what can we do? Okay, the linear gave us a result that didn't seem quite accurate. That's why you might need to go and check out other degrees of polynomials. Okay, so for your trend line, let's say if it was just linear, if we think that a line is the best fit, this would reflect the standard deviation between the ups and downs, and perhaps would generate something that looks a little more accurate to what we know about the situation. So let's update it using just a linear function. Okay, I don't think -5 trillion is an accurate estimate. Okay, so using this linear option, we're going to end up getting something similar to the trend we initially found. So 17.06, which is the formula over here, times the year we want to know, 2050, minus 33713.163. Hit enter. And this would tell us in 2050 we would have a $1,259,000,000,000 military spending budget. Now that probably aligns a little bit more with what we've heard about the Trump administration's projections for spending. Okay, so a little too much information perhaps, because statistics can get very complicated, but the best thing to do is when you look at your chart, try to find the option on this advanced edit that looks the most like it fits the trend with what you know about the data. Okay, when we tried the basic polynomial trend line, it was looking like it was going to be a little too parabolic. Okay, and then I've given a simpler example. It's not related to our topic at all. That follows another linear regression line, and I did that using data about the American teachers that have been in the Chapel High School since I've been here. Just looked at the yearbooks and tracked that data here, used that same trend formula. And then I tried with the chart and this formula to predict what it would be in 2050. And using that chart, it would say in 2050 there'd be a little less than 6 American teachers in chapel if it followed the current trend. Okay, so it's really up to you to see and use your logic about what type of trend line best fits the data with how it's moving according to time. Check out the screenshots on how to do that if you're still confused. Thank you very much. Good luck.